Alrighty, hey y'all. So, some bad news. Unfortunately, while I was recording the, what's it called, episode 5, um, my OBS decided that, it didn't want to fucking work, and it did not record any of my mic audio. All the gameplay audio is there, but my mic audio isn't, so everything I said was lost. Because of that, I decided in order to fix this, I am going to do a little bit of a different style of episode. It's going to be more highly edited, and it's going to include voiced over commentary for the battles that explain my strategies and such. The battles I'll be covering in this one are the Tabitha Meteor Falls double battle, the Mount Pyre Tabitha and Maxi fight, and then Flannery's gym challenge. It'll have some funny stuff thrown in, and I'll be able to talk about my strategies more in depth rather than talking about it in like the heat of the battle. So it'll be a different type of video, but I hope y'all enjoy it. Also, please do let me know of what you think of this video style. If it's well received, I might do it again as a recap, as more of like a recap for certain sections of the game. And, you know, for like those who don't want to sit through the hour or so episodes and would just rather a more highly edited compilation of the tougher battles of the game. So if it's well received, I might end up doing that. But still, thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. So, as I have mentioned, Tabitha 1 can be a tricky fight since it's a double battle, but thankfully it usually isn't too bad as long as you have options for his Darmanitan. Especially since his Grunt, who he battles with, doesn't really have that scary Pokemon. I led with Manectric, while Tabitha and his Grunt led with Mightyena and Golbat respectively, with Brendan sending out his Swellow. The main trick about this is because the Mightyena's ability Intimidate, I didn't want my Stoutland to come in and beam at -1 attack. So in order to avoid that, I Volt switched on the Golbat, and I sent out Stoutland afterwards, in order to, as I mentioned, avoid the -1, while Brendan's Swellow launches a Brave Bird into Mightyena, dealing about half its HP, and Mightyena hits that same Swellow hard with an Ice Fang. The Ice Fang would have killed if it wasn't for Stoutland's Intimidate that was able to make it to where Swellow could just barely hold on. Now that Stoutland is in and it's not at -1, it's able to fire off a powerful Strength into the Numel, taking it out cleanly, while Brendan follows up on the Mightyena, getting a kill with a Brave Bird. This is able to put us into a good position now that Tabitha's Darmanitan is on the field. And this Pokemon is a major reason why this fight can be concerning. Darmanitan has the ability Sheer Force, which paired with a Life Orb, meaning all of its attacking moves with additional effects are boosted double. Not double damage necessarily, but just a lot more damage. Combined with 140 base attack, there's not a lot of things that can tank a hit from this thing. In this situation, Darmanitan is likely to attack Swellow to pick up the kill, but all of its moves can do that, so that means it's going to choose a random move between Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, and Zen Headbutt. The worst outcome is Rock Slide, which targets both Pokemon on my side of the field. I want to get my Sharpedo in, and in order to do this without it fainting, I had to EV train it heavily in bulk, so that way it could survive not only the Rock Slide from Darm, but also the Rock Slide from the enemy Onix, while only being able to account for Darmanitan's critical hit. Which means a double critical hit Rock Slide could kill Sharpedo in this situation. But thankfully, Darmanitan random moves into Flare Blitz and kills Swellow, while Onix's Rock Slide misses. Brendan then sends out his Grovyle, and in the following turn, I'm able to target Tabitha's Darmanitan with the Waterfall, knocking it out cleanly, and essentially giving me a free turn as Onix went for Protect, and Grovyle tried to attack Onix, but it was negated by the Protect. Next, Tabitha sends out Weezing. Weezing is particularly scary, as it has enough bulk to shrug off a majority of physical hits, but also a varied special attacking move pool with an Expert Belt, allowing it to hit many Pokemon for super effective damage. Sharpedo is currently banning Thunderbolt, and while I lived the Thunderbolt and Rock Slide follow-up, I die if Thunderbolt crits. I, however, am in a precarious scenario, as I need some damage on Weezing to make any progress, as even if I switch to Manectric for a +1 from Lightning Rod, it would not kill on the following turn thanks to the spread damage nerf from Discharge. and could die to a Sludge Bomb crit into poison. So, I decided to risk Sharpedo rather than Manectric, as the other is a very useful mid-game Mega we will get to very soon. Sharpedo shoots a Waterfall into Weezing, which carries the ability to flinch and make it impossible for Sharpedo to die on this turn, but it doesn't. The Waterfall does about half, for Grovyle uses Giga Drain on Onix, bringing it down to Sturdy. Then, Onix uses Rock Slide, which misses Sharpedo again, and the Thunderbolt doesn't crit, letting Sharpedo live. I then switch out Sharpedo from Manectric on the following turn, as Grovyle kills off Onix, and Weezing's Thunderbolt gives Manectric +1. Then, thanks to the chip Sharpedo was able to get us, Manectric is able to completely kill Weezing and finish off the Tabitha double battle. This one really isn't that tricky if you know what you're doing, and honestly, it's probably harder than the Tabitha single battle, which now that we're heading to Mount Pyre, is going to be our next little obstacle for us to face. As I said, Tabitha's single battle isn't really harder than his double battle, but it's still something to look out for, especially now that to his team he added a Snorlax, which is another obstacle we're going to have to overcome. I did make a few changes with my team. I switched out Mightyena and Stoutland for Skarmory and Clawitzer, just from a little extra water attacking firepower for Maxie, and Skarmory is a very good check against Snorlax. Much like last time, we led with Manectric and immediately Volt Switch out in order to avoid the Intimidate. However, this time, we switch into Hariyama, who takes minimal damage from Mightyena's Crunch. Hariyama then goes for the Fake Out, bringing Mightyena into heal range, which is exactly what Tabitha does, letting us get the kill with Force Palm. Which then baits in Darmanitan, who wants to use Zen Headbutt against Hariyama. This actually allows us for a perfect pivot into Sharpedo, who won't take any damage from the Psychic type attack since he's part Dark type, and then, just like last time, the following turn we are able to outspeed and one-shot Darmanitan with a Waterfall. After Darmanitan is knocked out, Tabitha sends out Weezing. Now, like last time, we're actually going to pivot into Manectric, but this time we don't really need any chip damage because of the fact that there are no longer any other Pokemon in play besides Manectric and Weezing. Discharge's damage isn't nerfed. So that means because of the +1, we're actually able to score a clean knockout onto Weezing. Which then leads us to Tabitha's last Pokemon, Snorlax. This new addition can be rather scary as its strong body slams make it hard to pivot into fighting types that could take care of it, and its combination of rest and sleep talk makes it able to heal itself up to full while still being able to dish out damage. My plan was to send out Skarmory, who's able to tank everything Snorlax can do and heal up with leftover while fishing for Iron Head flinches, but that would have taken a long ass time, so I sent Hariyama back in. If he's not parried by the Body Slam, he's fine and lives to crit, so he can kill with a combo of Fake Out and Force Palm. If he does get parried, then we have to send in Skarmory. But thankfully, he doesn't get parried, and that basically is wraps. And then finally, on top of Mount Pyre, we got Maxie, who I just want to mention probably has like the most boppin' villain boss theme in like all Pokemon to me. But anyways, this fight admittedly isn't as hard as the Maxie ones coming up ahead, obviously because it's our first encounter with him, and that he can't use Mega Evolution. He leads Golbat and I lead Manectric. His Golbat is scary because it has a Flying Gem boosted Acrobatics, which becomes 100 base power after the use of the gem. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that since with the extra belt, Manectric is able to get the Oko with Volt Switch. I then send out Sharpedo, which baits out Maxie's Lampent. The thing about this Lampent is that it has the held item Focus Sash, which means it can live any one hit on 1 HP. Admittedly, I could have played around this by setting up a layer of spikes with Skarmory, but I just kind of forgot. Thankfully, we always live a non-crit Energy Ball, and well, I was willing to risk it at this point since I didn't want anything to come in and try and take that hit when everything else is a little bit more valuable than Sharpedo. So I let it stay in, and it lives the Energy Ball, bringing it down to Sash with Waterfall. And of course, Maxie goes for the heal this turn, which means I'm able to secure the kill with Waterfall, thankfully. Maxie sends out Houndoom next, which we are just able to outspeed and one-shot with Waterfall. And then, next, Camerupt came out. To be perfectly honest, I wasn't comfortable trying to go with the one-shot with Sharpedo because of Camerupt's high physical defense set and the ability Solid Rock, which reduces super effective damage, so I opted into switching Clawitzer. And admittedly, if the Earth Power crit, he would have died, but thankfully it didn't. So now we're able to cleanly knock it out with a boosted Water Pulse. Which then leads to Maxie's final Pokemon, Pupitar. This thing admittedly can be kind of scary if you switch out and give it a chance to boost itself with Dragon Dance, but since Clawitzer outspeeds, we're able to just go for the kill with Water Pulse. If you don't have a Clawitzer in this very specific scenario, then Swampert also handles this thing just fine if you chose Swampert, or any of the other bulky water types you got throughout your journey. And that was Maxie. Definitely the easiest Maxie fight we'll have coming up, and honestly, not really that bad. Finally, for this portion of battles that I did without realizing my mic wasn't working stupidly, we have Flannery. Flannery admittedly can be tough if you don't have a few specific counters to beat her. Like, I banned Blissey, for example, but a Charge Beam Soft Boil Blissey set goes very well against this since Blissey can live all of the overheats and then fire back Charge Beams, boosting itself up against all of the other Pokemon. And since, overheat lowers their special attack by 2, they can't really kill Blissey with consistent damage output. Now, if you aren't using Blissey as well, there's a couple of Rain Dance mons you can use. I, for one, use Lumineon, which is the footage you're seeing right now. Lumineon kinda sweeps her entire team besides her last Pokemon. Or you can use Ludicolo. The only thing about Ludicolo is that you're really going to have to EV train Ludicolo fully in speed just to outspeed Ninetales, and sometimes it's not even possible. So, you're going to have to make sure and pray that the first overheat doesn't crit or anything like that. But yeah, honestly, it's not that really complicated of a fight. I'll just leave the rest of the footage here, sped up at 5 times, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. I know this episode's very different, and it's more edited. And honestly, it's been kind of in pain to edit, because this is my first time editing, which I'm sure all of you could probably tell. But yeah, thank you. Have a nice rest of your days.